The sky above outpost horizon was on fire, not with the gentle glow of a setting sun, but with the infernal orange of an invasion. Thousands of alien drop pods screamed through the atmosphere, their shells glowing cherry red from the sheer friction of entry. Like metallic seeds from some cosmic nightmare, they split open midair, vomiting forth an army of soldiers hell-bent on conquest. The ground trembled. Warning sirens wailed a desperate, piercing song, a final cry against the inevitable. On the roof of the main bunker, Major Elena Ward of the Earth Defense Force stood against the chaos. Red Martian dust swirled around her battle-worn armor, clinging to the plates like a second skin. Her visor flickered, a cascade of alerts painting a grim picture. Incoming forces, Zytherion Empire. Class, Invasion Tier. Estimated survival, 2 hours. Behind her, the last remnants of Outpost Horizon huddled together. 200 souls in total: engineers, medics, miners, and a mere 10 exhausted soldiers. This wasn't a fortress. It was a glorified science station. They weren't supposed to win this battle. They weren't even supposed to fight it. But that was the thing about humans. We have a real problem with the phrase "supposed to." The first wave hit the ground like a meteor shower. Zytherion warriors, 8-foot-tall reptilian giants with armored crests and eyes filled with cold malice, charged from their pods. Their plasma axes hummed with an eerie blue light, hungry for destruction. On the bunker roof, Elena's boots locked to the metal floor with a solid clank. She braced a rail rifle, the weapon feeling like an extension of her own will. Her voice cut through the rising clamor, firm and unwavering. "Hold the line. C'est Firet." The rifle shot a hypersonic sliver of tungsten, tore through the first warrior's chest in a shower of green blood and shattered armor. But for every one that fell, a dozen more leaped over its corpse. Blue plasma beams lanced out, striking the bunker and melting steel like wax. Elena kept firing, each shot a precise, deadly punctuation mark in the symphony of war. She punched holes through torsos, shattered limbs, and vaporized heads. Still, they came. Relentless, unstoppable. Then the sky darkened again. This was the second wave, not pods, but dropships. Hundreds of them, blotting out the Martian sun, casting the battlefield in an oppressive twilight. One of her soldiers, his voice trembling, stuttered into the comms. "Major, that's a whole Empire's army." Elena's jaw tightened. She watched the metal behemoths descend, her resolve hardening into something unbreakable. "Then we'll make them regret sending it." The aliens crashed into the outer barricades, a tidal wave of muscle and fury. The remaining humans fought back with everything they had. Grenades arced through the air, standard rifles spat defiance, and repurposed mining lasers cut fiery swaths through the attackers. Exuses, designed for heavy lifting, now became instruments of war, crushing aliens under their hydraulic fists. But the Zytherians just kept pushing forward, their collective roar a physical force that seemed to shake the very mountains. Suddenly, the bunker shook violently. A new horror emerged from the smoke and dust. It was a colossal creature, a war beast that seemed cobbled together from the worst parts of a dragon in a tank. It charged, smashing through the barricades as if they were made of twigs. Without a second's hesitation, Elena ran forward. As the beast swung its massive, spiked tail, she leaped, landing hard on its armored spine. It roared, thrashing wildly, but she held on, her magnetic boots gripping the scales. She found a crack in its armor, a small imperfection, and jammed a magnetic spike deep into the gap. With a furious yell, she triggered the explosive charge. Boom! The detonation was deafening. The beast collapsed, its death rattle a thunderous crash that shook the ground one last time. Her soldiers let out a ragged cheer, a brief moment of hope in the storm. But it was short-lived. Overhead, a new shadow fell. A dreadnought, a city-sized warship that blotted out the sun entirely. It fired. A single, superheated beam of pure energy carved a molten canyon through the cliffside next to the outpost. Elena sprinted toward her comms unit, debris raining down around her. "Command, this is Outpost Horizon." The line was dead. Nothing but static. The dreadnought was blocking all channels. No rescue was coming. They were utterly, completely alone. Elena took a single, deep breath. She slammed a fresh battery pack into a rail rifle, cracked her neck, and stared up at the black metal titan hanging in the sky. "Fine," she muttered to the wind. "We'll do it ourselves." A figure descended from the dreadnought on a beam of light. A massive Zytherion warrior, his armor glowing with internal power, carrying a blade that was taller than Elena herself. This was their commander. He landed softly, pointed his colossal sword at her, and his voice hissed through his translator, a sound like grinding stone. "Human, your feudal resistance ends now. Kneel before the mighty Zytherion Empire." Elena didn't answer right away. She simply started walking forward, dragging the heavy rail rifle behind her like a legendary sword from an ancient myth. When she was just meters away, she looked him dead in the eyes. He came to the wrong planet. He swung his blade in a whistling arc, meant to cleave her in two. She dodged, rolling under the attack, and came up firing, a point-blank rail shot to his chest. The commander roared in pain and fury, backhanding her with enough force to send her flying into a twisted metal girder. Pain exploded through her ribs. She spat a mouthful of blood and grit onto the red dust and staggered back to her feet. "Again," she said, her voice a raw challenge. "He attacked," she countered. A deadly dance of sparks and fury. Dust and debris exploded around them with every impact. Elena fought like a cornered wolf, tireless, vicious, absolutely relentless. She saw an opening, jamming a broken piece of rebar from the ground into a joint in his throat. HFY. She kicked him backward, creating just enough space to level her rifle one last time. The final shot went straight through his skull. The Zytherion battle lines faltered. Their soldiers stopped, stunned into silence. A single, small human had just killed their vaunted general. Elena's voice, amplified by her helmet, cracked through the battlefield's din. "This is Earth territory. All of you back OFF." For the first time since landing, the Zytherion soldiers hesitated. This wasn't right. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Humans weren't supposed to win. They weren't supposed to survive. They sure as hell weren't supposed to kill a general. Elena reached down and picked up the fallen commander's massive blade. It was heavy, almost too heavy to lift, but she managed. She pointed it not at the army, but at the dreadnought hanging in the sky like a malevolent god. Then she screamed, a raw, primal declaration of defiance that echoed across the plains of Mars. "You want Mars? You want Earth? Come and get it." The battle that followed would become legend. A story whispered in the halls of 10 different empires. They would speak of the human who fought armies, killed a general, and challenged a dreadnought alone. A single soldier. A single, forgotten outpost. A single, impossible stand. Humanity will not